hello everyone for this session of editing back in Vietnam and the S.O.G pre-fire DLC. Today I'm gonna mostly edit for our upcoming Saturday mission with the TFP group. It's basically the follow-up of what they did last week. You can see both the replay of the editing session and the juicing session down on my channel, both on YouTube and on Twitch replays. So now we're gonna quietly start making a mission for not specifically infantry this time. I'm gonna go for S.O.G MAGV unit, so special forces doing a cross defense mission in Cambodia and Laos that were not exactly sanctioned or official by the US government back in those days. Basically all their equipment was I think sanitized is the word they're using for that, so they scratched off the serial numbers on the weapons, on any equipment. Like, it was equipment made to not be trackable back to the US government. So if they were killed or captured, the US and the army could deny their involvement in such operation. But that's basically what they're gonna do. MAGV units mostly operate in Cambodia and Laos. There's very few instances where they operated in South Vietnam directly. So what you can see on the map is I've already divided the map to their according geographical location. Cam Lao Nam is not exactly perfect geographically, so it's a bit difficult to actually see where all the countries are, but based on the name of each city and town and villages, you can roughly get an estimation of where Cambodia and Laos were. So if you're following the Mekong River, it starts here at the Mekong Delta. You can then climb up and follow the Mekong up to Bambon and Vakang. So basically, you know that this section here, the northwestern part of the map, is mostly Laos, and the southwestern part is mostly Cambodia, with Sihanoukville and the Sanbayban airfield. Atapo, weirdly, for some reason, is on the wrong side of the river. So if you type the name of that town in Google Map, you will see that town on the opposite side of the Mekong River. So I don't know why they decided to do this that way. It's a bit weird, because putting it on the other side of the river would have allowed me to put the actual border between South Vietnam and North Vietnam and Laos on the river itself, but Atapo being in Laos and on this side of the river, I cannot do that, so I have to do that small stretch of land in Laos on this side of the Mekong River. But overall, it's not a huge deal. It's still workable like that. And okay, so basically they're gonna start at the same spot. Today I'm FSB Quan Loi, and I want them to work really close by, to be honest. I would like them to use a boat for the first part, like the insertion to be through a boat. So I'm probably gonna make them work, or play rather, on this small section of land between the Mekong River and that other branch of the Mekong River, but it has another name, although I can't remember it on the top of my head. I quite extensively digged the map and the area and the different battlefield that happened in Vietnam, which amazed me at how much interesting places they've been able to cramp inside that tiny section of a map. Like, this is the entirety of South Vietnam from its border with the north to its most southern point in the south here at S.O.G. So they did quite a good job. Not everything's realistic, not everything is scaled to their real life counterpart. Like, if you look at Saigon, the town is much smaller than it would realistically be, and the port of Saigon is much smaller as well. Like, you have a more accurate depiction, I think, of the port of Saigon with what you have in Da Nang. But yeah, let's start working on this. First thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start like putting the limitation of my AO. Okay, looks like it's a bit too small. I think I can save 100 meter slightly. Yeah, okay. It narrows down the AO to this section of the map, which they're mainly going to use this, which I quite like. I'm going to quickly switch the players' playability, because that's the regular army squad I made as play group, and I would like them to use the S.O.G. Okay, I've just removed playability on these guys, and instead I'm going to drop them here. I'm going to take my MagV Alpha team, put them down here. And make all of these guys playable. I remember that I needed to change something on one of them. Which one was that? Oh yeah, that was the marksman. Basically, we're past the point in history where the marksman would use 20 round magazine instead of 10 round magazines. So I would like my loadout to actually portray that fact. With this. No, yeah, okay. I realise why I didn't put that many. What was that 7? Yeah, so what I'm doing when I'm doing my loadout, in this case, is I don't want to lose time at the start of a mission with everybody doing their loadout at an arsenal, because it's always like taking so long, and yeah, people are just like trying to look cool, tactical, all over the place, and it can get a bit tedious. At one point you always realize that someone forgot something, their short range radio, their long range radio, their grenade, their ammunition, their AT or their explosives. So in order to prevent that kind of things happening, I'd rather create all the loadouts myself in the editor, so when they spawn in, they're basically ready to go. So I handcrafted all these loadouts myself, one by one, except riflemen's, which I usually duplicate. And I made small variation in their equipment, like their boonie hats, helmets, and so on. But yeah, what I need to take into account when I'm doing these loadout myself is their actual weight. Right now I'm trying to stick the overall weight of each guy around 35 kilograms. The main reason for that is the way we've set up our stamina system. The heavier you are, the more stamina you lose as you move. And if you're light enough, when you jog, that means your weapon lowered and you just move forward on somewhat flat ground. When you jog, you should not lose yet stamina. You even like regain a bit of it, like how to say, you regain a bit very slowly as you move forward. But yeah, if you're above 35 or around 40 roughly, no matter what you do, you're gonna keep losing stamina. So you're gonna have to take knees very often in order to compensate for that. And it's just a nightmare, because you end up lagging behind and arriving late at each and every firefight, or the team has to slow down the overall pace of the group to allow you to catch up very often, which is something I'd rather avoid, as it can create tension when you have a guy that is really slow in the group. When you have a guy that is really slow in the group, it tends to work on the nerve of the others. Alright, so I believe the MAC-V team is ready at the moment. I've changed the ammunition. M16, I'm keeping that. Okay, so now that we've changed the MAC-V team, we've designated our AO, let's start working on the AO itself. Insurgent first. Okay, let's put our insert here. Right, I would like them to insert my boat. So I'm probably going to use the PTF nasty boat, which I really quite like. What's the difference between this one and the red one? Ah, yeah, okay. It's the float line. That is something I have to take into account every single time as well, is this stuff. Like, if you leave the inventory of your vehicle full of stuff, the player will naturally fill their inventory to the brink with whatever stuff is left in the vehicle, usually making themselves heavier than they should be, and therefore slower than they should be, and that's going to backfire. Yeah, they're going to have more ammunition, but if they can't get to the firefight before the firefight is over, they'll never use those that excessive ammunition. So yeah, I tend to clear the inventory of my vehicles before the players get there. Otherwise, it's just like a shopping cart. Right, that's good enough. Is it there? No, not really. That's perfect. I'll probably pilot that myself. Follow up the river. This to do. Here to go. And I will be dropping them here. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, I'll drop that here. Yeah, sounds about great. Okay, that's my insertion. Now, for what the hell are they going to do inside that AO? Well, my thinking is let's make them hunt for ammo caches. I know, it's a bit uninspired, but depending on the terrain, the actual objective itself doesn't exactly matter. It's just an excuse for making them go through such a difficult terrain. So when I look at villages like this, yes, I would like to put a small ammo cache in there, and I'm gonna make small ammo caches that are just, oh yeah, you found something, but it's not actually that. We're looking at a big ammo cache, and that's where the actual objective will be. So in that setup, what would be good? Yeah, this one would be perfect because it's the entrance is slightly hidden. So yeah, I'm gonna put an ammo cache in there. And VC Armory. Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good. It's well hidden. They absolutely can't see it. And I'm most likely not going to garrison the village itself. Maybe with like just civilians. But nothing in terms of Viet Congs or NVA. Because I want the firefight to be dynamic and not assault that village specifically, especially since this village doesn't have any proper built defense. So I saw a tower somewhere around here. What the hell is that? Is that an actual? Oh no, that's just a small bamboo tower. So yeah, that's absolutely not. It's not a VC defended village. It's nothing fortified in there, so it wouldn't make sense for them to garrison the entire place. I'm just gonna place down a small group of villager. When I say small, that's a conga line of villager. Just gonna cull that group a bit. Oh, I'm not carefully placing those gentlemen, as I absolutely do not need to do so. They will be here, and I will probably garrison them. I mean, I could. Let's, for the sake of it, let's give them a... Does that actually work like that? I'm skeptical about that one. Like, is that just a matter of syncing? I've never used the garrison module with lamps on the editor. Does that actually work just like this? Because then it is very easy. Yeah, okay. It appears to have worked. So yeah, basically just sync them to the garrison module and it does the job for you. Ah, so easy. Thank you, lambs. Ah, and it has an area. Oh, that's so cool. I'm gonna use that more often. Yep, sounds good to me. Wait, move my guy when necessary. Okay, in this case, I don't want an actual ammo cache in the village itself. I want a sampan with stuff in it. Yeah, that's about right. What's in it? Yeah, okay, looks about right. I think it would allow the RPD guy as well to resupply. And maybe not the RPD. And I want to throw them off guard by placing down a couple more civilian ships. Boats, rather. So if you only place one, that's going to stick out like a sore thumb. And like, they will know that something is up. Plus, it perfectly makes sense to have a couple of actual like small boats in there. These guys have a pier as well. Just gonna place down. That's crafty. No, I like that. I like that because it appears like there are supplies in there. It's actually empty. So you might believe, they've dropped their stuff here, and they emptied it already. Okay. They will search for an ammo cache. They'll find this. Okay. So we've got this one done. I've got this one done. I would like to do something special for this one. Maybe I'll put a tunnel on this one. What do we have here as well? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Yeah, that's great. Okay, we have a garrison here. Yep. Yeah, I'm gonna make them investigate that as well. And once again, it's not gonna be a large ammo cache. It's gonna be a small stuff. Okay. By the way, if you have any question about what I'm doing, if you're seeing something that you don't exactly understand, or what's the intent, or what module, what type of mod I'm using to get my all the options you see on screen, please feel free to ask. I will happily answer any question you may have on how to do stuff in the editor. I might not have the perfect answer. I'm not I'm not a professional editor. I've never created like script myself. I'm mostly like using script I find online. We have another guy on our unit that scripts a lot. Like he's a like a really good coder, so he has knowledge about scripts and stuff, which I absolutely don't. I think most of my talents come down to the fact that I have I have a really good imagination, and so I can. I'm never tired of creating stuff. So yeah, I try to keep things fresh, and to keep things interesting for the player base. And over the years, I would say so far so good. Okay, so we have this location as well. I quite like. The main issue I have with these buildings, like, while I really like them because they're invisible on the map, the carved rock, they appear on the map as normal rocks, so the players have absolutely no idea there is something here. The AI can absolutely not pathfind in them. They do not see this as a building. Therefore, the AI struggles quite a lot to fight in these places. So I tend to have to. Oh yeah, this is a big cache. Okay. Okay, so that's going to be the jackpot. At least one of the jackpots. We have roughly the same room here. Nope, not at all. We don't. Can I make them find some intel at least? No, that's in English. I'd rather use documents like these. Yeah, same here, that's in English as well. Oh, we'll make them use these. Yeah, that's good enough. No, not the one with the basket. Yep, sounds about right. Sounds about right. Okay, so this is a place I need to remember to actually crowd when these guys arrive. Because the main issue is I cannot garrison units straight away in there. Simple reason that this building doesn't have like meshes inside, so the AI will not garrison itself directly inside the building. They will garrison themselves inside the small like shelters and stuff, and not inside the big rocky bunkers. So I need to move them manually, which is not a big issue. I just need to plan ahead when I'm doing that, because I can't do that in a rush. I need to place that when I'm actually making the mission itself, like when I'm actually executing the mission. So the only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place down a squad of AI so I remember this spot. Same for this one. I'm going to place down a squad of AI on the ground just to remember it. So when I'm in Zeus, basically right before the operation start, or at least like 20-40 minutes, 20-30 minutes before the mission start, I'm like logging in, waiting for the players, and while I wait, basically I jump here, I spawn a couple of squads, and I garrison these um, these rocks and bunkers in Zeus directly, because it's easier to do it in Zeus than to do it in the editor. At least that's my feeling about it. I prefer really much working within the Zeus environment than working with the editor environment. The editor is cool. I like the fact that you have feedback on whatever you're doing in Zeus. Like in the editor, it's a back and forth, and I understand why some people like it and enjoy spending hours and hours and hours in the editor. For me, I like to play in the editor because it has great tools. It's really easy, especially since the 3DN editor. The fact that you can actually see your stuff in 3D as you build it, like that is really nice. Okay, so what do we have now? So they will investigate this village, these two places. I want them to investigate here as well. What could I put here? This is so beautiful. I really think this. Just gonna put it later. It's easier for me to edit in broad daylight. Okay, what would be the main reason to come here? Because obviously on this side I don't want to have an ammo cache. I've already done that. So what would be a good reason for them to come to Lumpat? I mean, yeah, Lumpat could be on part of the Ho Chi Minh Trail, so it could be a village where they store vehicles that are going down the Ho Chi Minh Trail. Yeah, that could be my draw. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. That sounds perfect. I'm just gonna fortify a bit that village and put vehicles in here. Yeah, that sounds great. And this one I'm gonna make it barrage the road basically. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, PAV and fortifications, bunkers. Is it floating on the ground? Yeah, it is. Shit. That's great. Right, sorry for the little AFK right there. Okay, back in. Yeah, that's great. Should I fortify this slightly more or not? Not really. Good old service point. Yeah, that's about right. Let's say they do not expect anything, so they haven't fortified this village that much. Although, I think them just watching the road is probably not the right call. So I'm gonna put a couple of isolated defenses in the forest. So they would use that kind of stuff. This one gives me a great firing arc, which is perfect. Maybe one more tower around here. Yeah. Is it all included? Yes, it is. Check if they actually get in their positions. Absolutely fucking not, and I think it's because I forgot to put the TP marker. Teleport unit, and do not exit your... Now, has it worked? Kind of. Not the greatest. It's okay. It's manageable. I will probably improve that by myself whenever I join the Zeus stuff. Yep, sounds about right. Will you excuse me? I am yawning. Might be a bit too chill for me. Okay, so we've got this place done. Now, I remember having spotted something interesting up on that ridge. And would you look at that? Hell yeah. That's good. Well, I've got the perfect thing for this. Welcome, divisional gun. This is a thing of beauty. Just gonna automatically crew it. What about a bit of anti-aircraft? Okay, that sounds interesting. It's perfect as well. Since they're gonna drop here, gonna go there. They're probably gonna go along the river, knowing them, because that's the shortest path to their thing. And I'm still questioning the fact I would. No, I know what I'm gonna do. Yep. I'm not gonna make them aware of this. Yeah, I'm not gonna make them aware of this. Although, I'm gonna make that divisional gun fire at them. They will hear the blast of the gun, and they will get under artillery barrage. So they will know that their only kind of chance of survival is to get there and kill it. Otherwise, I'm gonna make that artillery shell them all along that path. If they're stubborn and try rushing through it, as soon as they're in range again, I'm gonna shell their heads. So at least that's turning into kind of a dynamic objective where you need to accomplish your mission. You know what your mission is, but that side objective, not marked on the map, is in your way. So you need to deal with that. Yep, that looks like a great spotter. Okay, so now we've got the rough gist of our mission. So we've got that as a side objective, this as a main objective, this one, these ones. And this one. Now, for the modules. Modules, I'm gonna go with the very, very original, but tested and approved tracker module. When it's tilted. And it needs to be at 90. There you go. I feel better now. I hate when I'm struggling to align something. Okay, so that's not very original, but at least it does the job. On the other hand, oh yeah, I'm probably gonna occupy this village as well, innit? Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Okay, that works. That's garrisoned. Okay, now that this is done, I'm gonna place the other module that I really like, which is the tracker group reinforcement requester. I place that roughly in the middle. Sync this to some of the isolated units. So basically, when these guys are engaged and they get into contact, they're going to call in reinforcements. So we know that these dudes never come alone. Now in this entire section of forest, I haven't seen any other camp that I may use specifically for this mission. So I think we're good, unless I've missed something. Aha! There's more. There is actually more. Oh my god, every time there's a rock, you can expect to have VCs in them. That's even pretty beefy camp, to be honest. Yeah, it is. How far out of the way is this? It doesn't exactly suit in the path I have. Quick thinking. Yep, okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna garrison this with just a small fire team. Just remember, it's there, and in case the players get close to it, I will quickly put together something during the zoo session. So I have a contingency plan. Now, basically, what will happen here is it's there. There is a fire team there, so if the players approach, I will remember that this stuff exists. If they don't approach, then no problem. If they do, then I will create something quickly. I will place down more units. I will start garrisoning the place. I might just put a small arsenal here. Up in these rocks. Yeah, that Kong armor. Oh yeah, that's good. That's good. That Kong armory. That Kong where the unit created by North Vietnam to hunt down the MACV unit. So they basically what they did is they created their own special forces type unit that the main job was to hunt down American special forces. And there was kind of a game of cat and mouse between those two units during the war, where they would track each other endlessly in the jungle of Laos and Cambodia and along the Ho Chi Minh Trail to get the best of the other. Like you can see a very popular picture. I think it's on the Wikipedia page of. I don't know if it's the Vietnam War. It might be on the Wikipedia page of the Ho Chi Minh Trail, where you can see actually a picture of this one MACV unit taking a picture of a patrol, a Dakong patrol, walking down the trail, and basically they're like 50 meters behind each other, and yeah, the MACV unit like just like snapshotted a picture of the back of the last guy in the column. That's actually really quite impressive when you know that if they would be heard, they were like hundreds of kilometers behind enemy line and most likely surrounded by a hell of a lot of dudes willing to kill them. So yeah, that must have been extremely stressful. Okay, so what do we got? We got the tracker module, we got the reinforcements, we've got the village they have to investigate. I'm gonna mark that on that map. I'd rather have the drawn one. What's that tower now? This one. Yep, that's definitely a guy as well. Looks like even an RTO. And that guy is going to be linked up to... this. Just for the sake of it. What that module does, this one that I placed and linked a load of unit to it, it's the tracker group reinforcements requester. So basically what happened is when one of these units linked to that module is getting engaged by the player and they go into combat mode, it requests reinforcements for that specific unit automatically. So I think it requests up to 2 fire teams of 5, roughly, like the small like tracker recon group. And they spawn a couple of 100 meters in the jungle behind the unit, and yeah, they beeline to reinforce the guy that has called them, and if the guy has been killed, they will start tracking the players altogether. Which, oh, my bad again. Which makes for really dynamic firefight. And this is exactly what we need in that type of environment. I want dynamic firefight. I want the players to be pressured to move forward. I like to give them some breathing room, obviously, because like they need to be able to breathe a bit. Oh my god, there's even more here? There's even more, like, bonkers? It will never be over. There's so many hidden spots. Just gonna check in the mountain to see if there's any cave in there. No, it doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it. Maybe here? No, I don't think so. No, it would be slightly too obvious. No, and you can see the ground there, so there's nothing in there. Maybe in here? Nope. No caves. That's a shame. But okay, that means I have to plan this as well. Well, fair enough. Fair enough. In this case, I'm going to use the guerrilla group because that's a much larger group. And I don't think that's going to work, but I'm going to try. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not going to work, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to test it out now. Just going to grab my dude. Just going to grab Overwatch. Yeah, as I thought. No, that doesn't work at all. They're not garrison here at all. Oh, that means I'm gonna have to do this manually. Yay! Happy days. Happy days. I'm gonna leave these guys here still. Yeah, I'm gonna leave these guys here. So just in case they hear them. And they go to investigate. Yeah, that sounds about right. It's not that far away from the village. They might, after doing this, if they actually do this, they might just go back to the river and follow the ridge line. If they follow the ridge line, they're gonna end up on those guys. Okay, let's keep doing the objectives. No, I don't like the name of that objective. It's not exactly a truck resupply station. Yes, Torres. This is tomorrow's mission. I don't want to call this a truck resupply station. I want to call this something else. It's not exactly it's not a resupply station, it's a kind of a where they would unload the trucks and load them onto bikes. Yeah, okay. I know that. Yeah, sorry. If you want to spoil, if you want to spoil yourself about tomorrow's mission, that's here you got to come, because I'm about to make the final touch to to the mission itself. Where was it again? Yeah, that was here. It's here. Ah, cool, 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 cool. Well, basically tomorrow's mission, they have to investigate a couple of places to find ammo cache. They're going to play as MAGV unit, so like special forces doing their mission in Cambodia and Laos. And yeah, they're going to investigate a couple of villages. And for the first time, Launchman helped me to make the tunnels work with Lamb's AI. So before then, I couldn't use the tunnels because of Lambs. Lambs forced the AI to move inside the tunnels, and it made them face through walls and fall to the bottom of the tunnel section, which is absolutely not what you want. But now Launchman has found a script that will force the AIs to stay in place inside the tunnel. Force the AI to stay in place inside the tunnel, and therefore I can now use tunnel, and well, the players will investigate different ammo caches, and they will they'll keep finding like small, very small crates of like couple of rifles, couple of ammunition, obviously not the big ammo cache and weapons cache they're looking for. So instead of finding the ammo cache and weapons cache directly, they will find tunnel entrance, and they're going to have to clear that with a crap ton of dude inside to actually find the ammo cache inside set tunnel. I don't know yet which type of tunnel I'm going to use. That I haven't checked. I need to check the kind of all of them. I need to find one with a large room that could fit a decent sized ammo cache. Yeah, I'm gonna put the tunnel entrance here. Let's go with tunnel 3 at the moment. I'm not gonna put the massive one. Maybe medium should be good enough. East. VC Regional Force. That's perfect. Okay, so let me check which one is the third one. Okay, third one is the one at the top here. And what does it look like? Okay, well, Looks exactly how I expected it. Is that enough? It doesn't seem in. Oh shit! It doesn't feel enough to me. Because the bottom floor is basically empty. But this could be a nice large room for an ammo cache. Oh, that's weird. That's really weird. Yeah, more and more. Especially since Viking is playing, so he's going to complain there's not enough enemies. Yeah, okay. I'm going to keep the third one. That sounds perfect. I'm just going to increase the amount of people, and I'm going to place the trigger so they don't move. Okay, if I'm correct, it was this one. Yeah, it was this one with the weird lighting glitch. Okay, so management told me I have to create a trigger. Seems large enough. And that's the script. Okay, so that should disable the AI in the tunnel itself. Now I'm gonna go on large, just because, yeah. Let's see if they behave. Just gonna check for traps. Okay, so far they're not moving, which is already a good thing. Why am I losing frame rate? Is something spawning in here? No, there's nothing spawning. There's still no enemies. That's weird, because I lost a bunch of frames right now. I can't tell why. And of course I went down instantly. I didn't check the guy on my left, on my right. Oh. Just gonna kill that gentleman. They're still moving. I can see some of them still moving. Did they fall at the bottom, or they did just move naturally within the tunnel? I saw 1, 2 just like quickly change direction. Not entirely sure. I'm still not convinced by how we should approach these tunnels. I think in order to minimize casualties, the players should stick together to one path, but it would therefore like take hours for them to actually clear this place entirely. Oh, that was a reaction shot. I think it would take them hours to clear the entire tunnel reliably if they stick together. Plus the problem of sticking together, most of the time what's going to happen is you're going to have the 2 guys in the front. Yeah, that's the thing. You're going to have the pairs of 2 in the front actually taking all the action. And like the 5 others behind them not doing anything. So they are actually they are still moving in the tunnels. It's just that they're not falling outside of the tunnel. Yeah, look this guy. He's actually like climbing the ladders, and that's without Lamb. So I don't know how they scripted this, but Lamb is conflicting with the like custom script they made for these guys, because that guy like climbed up from the bottom here, climbed upstairs, checked the tunnel, and he's now climbing back down. And there's that other guy. This one he fell off. This one is outside. Like that is one for Scrappy, because he will never come back inside. And this dude, when he climbed down the stairs, he's just crashed. Yeah, he's fucked as well. It's yes, AI can climb ladders. Dick made the experience the other night on Make Force. They built an FOB on Make Force, and they built it on top of a building, only accessible with ladders. And at one point during the night, they were chatting and engaging people from afar, and suddenly there was a guy climbing up the ladder. So they called him, like, "Hey, who the fuck are you?" or whatever, until they realized it was actually a group of VC climbing up the ladder to get them. So yeah, AI can actually do that, but they need a good environment, and like it needs to be a very easily accessible ladder for the AI. But yeah, it seems like on somewhat of a short path they can actually move around in here a bit, which is a really good thing. I mean, if you remember when we cleared the tunnel, just the two of us, during the campaign mission, I remember seeing AI actually move through those tunnels. So I don't know what script they use to do that, or even if it's a script or if it's just an improvement over vanilla AI. I think it's an improvement over vanilla AI. But yeah, they actually move through these stuff, which makes it, like, I think, really cool, because this is the only downside of using tunnels, I feel, like in armor. AI they're stuck in there. It's like they need to stick to one place, otherwise they can't handle the tunnels. Here, actually, here we go. Go down quickly. Here they can actually do stuff in those tunnels, and even a large garrison. Right now yeah, there was nothing behind me. There was nothing behind me, and that guy came up, killed me, and is now climbing up the ladder. Because I fell down that ladder, came here, there was nothing in front of me, I turned, and suddenly that guy was there. So even though you think you may have cleared the tunnel, it might not be entirely clear, because the AI could, like, move around and actually reman it. Is he chasing me? No, doesn't look like it. I heard him shooting, but I thought he might have been chasing me, but he's not. But yeah, okay, this test is conclusive, really conclusive. I'm really happy the way it works. Right now, this is really good. So, we've got that turned up. Now I'm going to create the biggest ammo cache you've ever seen in there. There you go. So, there's an empty room here that I can use for basically anything. Let's go for supplies. And it's singular with spray fire. Of course, a couple of VC armories. There you go. There you go. EVN weapon crate. Magazine crate. Launcher crate. I put all sorts of stuff in there. When that blows up, that's going to be a big one. Armory. The armory. That Kong Armory. .105 ammunition. Mortar ammunition. Three. And 81 ammo. Okay, that's gonna be a large armory. I'm gonna put a bit of food. Tank engine. Is there engines model? Fair. That thing exists. I can put an abandoned boat. Like, how the fuck does that even fit in? Yeah, but I'm slightly afraid this is a very modern tank engine compared to yeah, this is a modern tank engine. Is there another empty room where I could put like funny stuff in there? Yeah, here. Maybe maybe not a tank, but at least this. This could fit in. They can't even drive it, so they can't do stupid shit with that because it's like a building. They can't drive it. They can't drive it. You can just open the doors and open the trunk. You can't actually drive it. But yes, if I do that, you can expect Akron to jump in the driver's seat and try to drive it up. At least Akron. Motorcycle, yeah. There might be one in there. I could try that, but I don't know how that's going to go. I should place that as far down as possible, so they don't start fooling around with the motorcycle in the middle of. How large are the billboard? Quite big. That's a bit too big. Yeah, they're really big. Ah, those are way smaller. There's a lot of signs. I didn't realise that. I really like this sound. This sign. I'm gonna put that at the entrance of this area. Okay, I think this one is the entrance. Might be mistaken, but I think this one is. If it's not, I'd check that out and I'll change it again. Might be this one though. To be honest, I never remember which one is the entrance. So you were talking about motorcycle. Do we have that? Do we even have motorcycle? No, there's no motorcycle in here. It's in the CDLC. The other one, the Czechoslovakian one. It's an Iron Curtain. The only thing I have here is a bike. I could try a bike. Just gonna. Is there a car selling sign? No. Oh shit. Yeah, there are, but they're too big, I think. Propaganda. Go with an AK. Okay, no car seller sign, but the taxi sign should do the trick. Yeah, that's perfect. A little bit of an Easter egg for them. If they manage to find that place, it's gonna be funny. Okay, aside from that, there's the huge ammo storage room, which is exactly what I need them to find. Let's check if the sign is in the right room. It's our entrance. Yes, but you never know the amount of time that happened where I placed something on the map and you actually never find it. Happens really often. I wouldn't say like once every week, but like at least once every month I try to place a big Easter egg in the mission and you end up never finding it. Yep, perfect. That's the right one. Cool. Now all I need is to fortify this village a bit, or at least this section of the village a bit. And I think I'm good to go. To be honest, I'm okay if they find the objective first and never see the Easter egg. That's why it's an Easter egg. It's not made to be like obvious or like shoved in your face every time. If it's too much obvious, it's not funny anymore that it's there. So it has to feel like rewarding in a sense that you actually like went out of your way and found something a bit weird on the map. Like the best example for that is the Contact DLC. Like I've checked the campaign and I've popped into a Zeus cheat and I checked things all over the place on the Contact DLC. I think there are like per mission all over the map there's like 10 or 15 small bits and pieces here and there of little things to find. You can find a full-on arsenal basically in the Contact DLC with like loads of stuff. You can find dead people. There is a guy waiting in front of a tent, absolutely not moving, like he's frozen in place, which is really weird as well. There's a load of funny stuff. Yeah, Bohemia does that quite a lot. And they do it really well because it was fitting of the Contact DLC theme. Because some of them are like, they're not spooky, they're just unnerving. You wouldn't like to be in that forest at night with what's happening in the Contact DLC. Okay, so I wanted to make the extract as well. Is it? That's not a building. That's just a. Is that just a? Yeah, that's just a piece of rock. Put the extract on there. The problem is that it's facing a bunker, and they will see it. Probably gonna put the extract here, on the tip of that stuff, or here. Yeah, here. That's gonna be the extract. Yeah, okay, reinforce this a bit. I don't know. Should I reinforce that? Because then it makes it too obvious that there is a tunnel entrance here. I think I should just put a small garrison because it doesn't even look like a fortified place. Like it's just a market. So just like putting fortification in front of it, it's too on the nose. No, I'd rather place a simple tower behind it. Just kind of as an overwatch in the back. You mean here behind the building? That's a bit too much. That's too close. The problem here, it's a lot of tall grass, so I'm slightly afraid they would miss this unless I do something like that. I put this here. And I go for something like this. Yeah, I mean, no, it's understandable that you wouldn't put it behind a building. Like it's too obvious. It's too close to the civilians. Like as soon as you investigate the house, they find the entrance of the tunnel. But if you put this in the jungle, then you need to find a way to lead the players to it. A way that is not too obvious either. And I think this kind of stuff, where you would place your shelter panels in here, like yeah, it's not obvious, but if you approach the second part of the village from here, right now I'm in the editor, so it's somewhat difficult to see, but when you're on foot, this like little piece there, it stands out a bit. So as they approach, they start to see that something's not quite right there. And I could even, the tower I placed here, I could place it somewhere around here, so they would kind of see the top of the tower. Like here, if I'm at man's size, yeah, you can barely see the top of the tower. So as soon as you approach, rather from here, you can barely see it, but it's noticeable. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put one more shelter stuff here. And if they search a bit, then here I'm gonna put a bunker. Just that kind of stuff. It's just on the edge of the village itself. There's not a lot. You can barely see it. I'm gonna place another shelter here. just so it's not too obvious. But yeah, and yeah, I know. To be honest, on my screen, it blends in 100% as well. Hopefully, like someone will notice it, and if they don't, it's not a massive issue. You can just like spawn two dudes here, and they will start chatting. Uh, and that's the advantage with the S.O.G DLC. Um, you hear that? You hear two guys, two Vietnamese guys speaking to each other in the forest, so that will draw their attention most likely. Especially since I've put civilians in that side of the village, and absolutely none on this side. So the fact that it's completely empty and unoccupied, they might find this unusual. But yeah, the amount of stuff like you can have on this map that is completely invisible, it's like even me while editing, I miss entire camp in the forest. I mean, yeah, kind of. Like you're usually like the overall team is usually very smart about stuff. Um, like my first part here is this camp. There is an artillery camp on top of that hill with a divisional gun artillery type stuff, and it's not marked on the map. Like if you look at this location, aside from what I placed in the editor, there is you can't see anything. There's no building, the trench are invisible, the camp is invisible, and that was built from the get-go. I didn't place any of this. The only thing I placed are the gun, the AA, the unit, and that radio. I haven't placed anything else. So basically, nobody knows it's actually on the map, but they will have to go through that path. They will follow this, and I use this guy on this platform as somewhat of a scout slash RTO. So as soon as he spot the player, I will start raining the artillery in, and hopefully, since they can hear the gun firing and they can hear the artillery shell landing, they will say, we might need to take that out before moving on. Because if they don't, that divisional gun will be able to shell them all along the path. And at one point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give that artillery to lambs, and so any unit that enter in contact with the players will be able to call that gun as an artillery piece. So if the players do not take that artillery piece out before moving on to their mission, it's going to be pain in the ass for the entirety of the run. And when I've done that in the past, usually at least Akron as a squad leader realizes that and takes the decision of moving forward and actually taking that position first. And most of the time when you're doing escapes as well, like people are really smart about the way you're doing escape. You're avoiding most of the traps, you know where to find stuff, you're playing stealthily when it's necessary, sometimes stealthily when it's not necessary either. Yeah, depending on the escape, yeah. If it's a custom escape, usually you're gonna be split up. I don't like escapes that start all together because it doesn't feel threatening enough. Like the escape on Kamlau and Am, it never felt like an escape to me. Like it felt just like a patrol where at the end you have to take a boat or an helicopter. But I never felt like, oh, I'm under stress, I need to flee. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, when you're playing the escape, you're just like in your stuff. You enter survival mode, You put your knife between your teeth and you start crawling. To be honest, I get that. I feel like an escape doesn't work if you have too many people. If you have a squad of like 10 or 15 people, it's no longer really an escape. It's more like a planned retreat. When they're just like maybe 2 or 3 of you, yeah, that could make for an interesting escape. Yeah. I mean, I should do something like that once in a while. Kind of the escape of a sniper team, where you have a team of 2 or 3, maybe a spotter and a sniper, and a medic, and just that trying to escape an AO after being discovered. That could be a very interesting setup because your weapons are not even suited for what you're trying to do. Yeah, you have a very powerful sniper with a really good scope, but like it's a bolt action and you have 5 round in your chamber. Yeah, you might have more magazines, but yeah, if you do not kill on 1 shot, then second shot is probably not for you. Well, it feels like this mission is done. I've got all my objectives. I've got my ammo caches. I've got a little bit of an Easter egg. I've got a side objective of the artillery. I've got reinforcements, trackers all over the place. Inserting, extraction. Well, the only thing I have left is a name. I didn't leave my UNAI here. No, I didn't. Perfect. I'm just gonna put 2 or 3 dudes in there. That's my garrison module. Allows me to spawn a unit inside a garrison from the get-go. I'm gonna put them on safe. Do not fire. I'm even gonna put them on careless by default, so I don't get any issue with this. I'm gonna put a couple of shelters. So I get something where they can spawn in. Is that this? Yeah, that's a small one. Okay. Just gonna do. Okay, we got this ready up. Right, final test. Okay, let's see if everything is running smoothly. We've got this big square here. Okay, this is a perfect camp. That's this single dude here. Probably gonna put a couple of patrol boats in the river as well, just dynamically move them around a bit. We've got these dudes, yeah, for this part, and of course these guys who magically fucking. Oh no, that's normal. That was planned. That is planned. Ah, I didn't mark these two as point of interests. Should have noted that. These guys are in shape as well. Yeah, that's perfect. This, I haven't placed a garrison here, but that's mainly for frame rate because that's one of the last objective. Truck is ready. These guys are ready as well. Get in place just in case. That's another side objective. Like, it's not part of the mission, but just in case they go near it, I have a garrison ready. Okay, now let's see, how fast do I get to the extract? To the insert. These ships are nimble as hell. Like, you wouldn't believe it. Okay, it takes about 3-4 minutes to get to the insert point. Yeah, cool, that's good enough. You can get Akron to do the brief in the inside the ship itself. Cool, that didn't take long. Okay, so we can start at sunrise. It's basically the last adjustment I have to make. Okay, just marking a point of interest. Place it down here. Oh yeah, one thing I should do as well is modify the Grenadier so he has flares. Okay, I'm gonna remove the airbursts because I think you've tried it, the airbursts, Taurus, and it's a bit shit. Instead, I'm probably gonna go for flares white. Yeah, flare white. I'm gonna put time acceleration in here. Let's go with time 5 by default. So they will have to interact, but basically at night. Yeah, sounds about right. Right, well, it was a slightly longer editing session than I expected. Well then, that's going to be it for me for the time being. Well, thank you for following me during this editing session. If you want to see the actual mission being Zeused, that's going to be tomorrow at 20:30 CEST. So that's GMT plus 2. If you're somewhere else in the world. And yeah, I hope you'll join happily for this one. The stream will not start at 20:30 CEST. Stream will start around 20 CEST. So that's half an hour before the actual mission starts. So you can see me planning early in Zeus and basically welcoming the players, giving the briefing, and the players actually mount up at 20:30 and start being on their way at that time. So thank you for joining me during the editing session. I hope it was quite chill and informative for you, and see you later on. Have a good one.